Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live, and Happy New Year, in fact. Welcome to another live Thursday Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, her Starla Moore, and him, Anthony Wolf. Well, not even the gang's all here. We have a much bigger gang now, but
yeah, we do. Happy New Year, everyone. How are you both?
Good.
After today, or
well, before this morning.
Well, I've got a straight shot of espresso right here. So
oh, send us some over here. That would be good. I was just having my feet up and ready to chill out, and thought break into the new year nice and early. Nothing strange will happen. Nobody will care what's going on. I was wrong again.
I think at some point we were saying we probably won't have a Q&A this week because everyone will still be doing other things. But oh wow,
there was a necessity.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Starla, but this part of Ohio, it's pretty cold and snowy outside today.
It's cold right now, no snow, but we have a storm on the way. So it's probably going to be bad by tomorrow night is when it's supposed to hit us. So if you just had a storm, that means that it's probably coming for us now.
I was speaking to that oracle of great weather information called Alexa, and she said nothing until Tuesday. So she was very wrong.
You're my best
everyone in the group. Where I saw someone from Florida, which I'm very jealous of now. I think that was Heather.
That sounds good.
Everyone else was tuning in.
Supposedly it's going to be snowing here in Wichita tonight, Amy said.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, you guys stay safe. I know down in Englandshire, they're getting hit by some pretty bad storms. I think we're up to Storm Henry or something. I'm not sure. We're up to an H's, and England's getting hit hard just now. So stay safe, guys.
Yeah. Sure.
Poor Amber Marie. She's about to be induced to have her baby. If you guys are going to have storms over there.
Time. Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Of course, yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. It's all okay. Yes, I've been following her bump.
All right. Well, Anthony, do you want to start with what everybody has been panicking about and why the stream is titled "Don't Panic"?
Yeah. So Etsy sent out an email to pretty much anyone that's connected their Etsy store to an app like eRank. I think Aweber and other ones as well. And what Etsy are doing is they're limiting access to buyers' email addresses. So we've had access to your buyers' email addresses for years. Never use them. We have absolutely no need for them. So never used them, never downloaded them or anything like that. But there are some apps out there that are really affected by this. So apps that do things like help you with email marketing or shipping. Email address is a vital component for those apps. So they're in a little bit of a panic at the moment. But the good news is for us, eRank members, you don't need to panic. The app is completely unchanged. This doesn't affect us at all, even though Etsy decided to single out eRank in their email. It's like, thanks, guys. So
really concerning if the only thing you have connected is eRank, because then it only has eRank listed.
I've seen a few others where, I won't say our competitors' names, but they've been mentioned in there as well. I was like, yeah, well, that's it. When I saw the first email, like when I got back home, it was like, oh, what are they singling us out for? And then it's like, okay, I see what's happening here. But yeah, don't panic. No changes that are affecting eRank. Your account is A-OK. Like I said, it's a feature we've never had to use. So nothing changes.
Awesome.
Thank goodness. Yeah. Mind you, it didn't stop people from panicking and going, oh my God, I paid for eRank. What's going to happen now?
It's fair enough. People don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and this is a thing Etsy gives access to, to places like eRank to be able to get data. So when you sign up and you connect your shop, you're agreeing to give us some access, but we only take the access we need to be able to show you like your listing data and stuff like that.
But I think at the end of the day, this is a really good change that Etsy have just made, because I like to think eRank's very ethical and we follow the law to the, very precisely, and don't try and push the boundaries when it comes to privacy at all. But I don't know about some of these other apps out there. So, I think it's a really, really good thing that Etsy's doing. I think they will make some exceptions for apps that legitimately need this information, like shipping companies, for example. A lot of carriers now require a telephone number and an email address in order to contact the buyer if they're having trouble delivering. So I can see a legitimate need there. Well, that phone number would be adequate, you'd think, but that's that. And if you're doing email marketing and not spamming, then that makes sense as well. I think it's a good reminder to be mindful of people's privacy. And, just before we started, we were talking about things like that. Maybe I'll get you to chime in here, Starla, because this is something you're... your turn.
But what the main question that I've been getting a lot is, how does it affect email marketing specifically? So if you're utilizing a service like MailChimp where you have an external opt-in, a lot of people have asked me to clarify what that means. Basically, you've got a link somewhere on Etsy. Maybe you're listing descriptions, you have a little short link, or you've got a QR code in your photos, or you send out, a link to opt into your email list on your business cards when you ship a package, or in your thank you message to your buyers, you say, thanks for your order, I'm getting it ready for you. By the way, feel free to join my email list for future updates. Things like that are okay because there's no API integration there. That is a manual opt-in that your customer has to go to that link, to that sign up page, sign up, opt in. And that's why I teach MailChimp and services like these, because I was always a little nervous with the services that do it for you automatically. And I've spent a little bit of time going through some of their privacy policies, and I'm sure they were doing it legally at the time. But maybe Etsy is nervous that, this type of data sharing, we've all bought something online and ended up on an email list that we did not give permission for. And there are a lot of countries where that is illegal. You can't add someone to your email list without their permission. And you also have to make sure that they have a clear way to opt out of that email address or email list. And with all of these different nested rules under the exterior that Etsy would have no control of, Etsy can't verify that every single seller is following all of these compliance laws. Well, that might affect Etsy, or at least how people perceive Etsy, and that could hurt Etsy. So we heard, or Patrick, one of our team members, did hear from Aweber. They said, let's see, we also found out today that this is going to impact the Aweber integration with Etsy, but our team is working on figuring out how to resolve this for our customers, as we know that this connection is important to you. I'll be sure to follow up with an email so we can continue to update you as we work on figuring out a way to allow the connection to remain. So it does sound like they're going to be working on it. But in the meantime, just be wary if you have any email marketing services that automatically extract those email addresses. And something that Anthony and I and Pam and I were all talking about before we hopped on the stream is that sellers need to be very conscious of the data that they keep when it comes to our customers. Every time you order, or you have a bunch of orders and you print out those shipping labels and you get that little, file with all your shipping labels to print, if you're just leaving those on your computer, you've got customer data saved on your computer. That stuff is just sitting there. That's their name and their address where they live. This is all personally identifiable information that you should not keep on your computer for longer than you have to. So just be really conscious of what you collect, because with someone's address, there's all kinds of things that you can find out about them if you type that information into Google. It's easy to uncover someone's whole life. And I know that nobody would want that information, uncovered about them. So your customers definitely don't either.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, there are a good chunk of sketchy people out there that are trying to make a quick buck, and they are very, very keen to acquire email addresses and take it from there. Something that was also announced by Etsy today, which I think is also a good move, is their forums. So they're going to be locking that down, so you can only access the forums if you are logged in. So that's going to help minimize those sketchies out there that might be scraping through the forums and, you know, posting comments in there. I mean, like the obvious one to me is, hey, I'm a new seller. And in the forums, you've just put up a red flag to someone saying, I need to prey on some unsuspecting new sellers out here. And if someone says something like that, in that same post, you can get their shop ID. If you have API access, you might be able to get a bit more information about that user. So when you think about those poor people that have been getting those messages apparently from Etsy, which are not, but I think Etsy are doing what they needed to do. Well, they needed to do it a long time ago, but I think they're cutting down on giving people easy ways to scam other people.
Yeah, that's a good time for a reminder, because we are hearing every day tons of people are getting these messages.
Yep.
If you get a message that says it's from Etsy, don't give them your email. Don't give personal details like that. If Etsy need anything from you, go to your dashboard. It'll be in your dashboard what they're telling you they need. Because I know lots of people are getting caught out with this. And every time we give you tips on what you can look for, obviously these scammers get more smart and change things up. So.
Yep. Yeah. So I hope that this year they're really tightening up a lot of those little backdoors and so forth. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this for the whole Q&A. I think we've got a lot of things we could be talking about as well. So just a little reminder to get some questions in, and we will start answering your questions. So
exactly. I think we need 6 questions before Starla comes back. No, I don't know where Starla's gone. Here we go, hopefully. But yeah, guys, get in your questions, because we've had a whole 2 weeks off, so we don't know what we're doing, clearly. I literally sat and looked at all these buttons, not knowing what to press. So.
We can't hear Starla at the moment. Can you say something, Starla?
Nope.
We'll be here. All right. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yep, we've got Starla back in the room.
Did you guys see that Anna had said template sellers are worrying as well? The integrations, cordial template, etc. Email template links to their customers directly. But doesn't Etsy also have? I mean, this is something that Etsy provides in-house for digital sellers. So while these services might email customers, Etsy does all this within their own platform. So why? I mean, it's definitely great that customers get the extra email to let them know, but is it necessary when they can download directly from Etsy as a digital seller?
Yeah, I haven't looked into those integrations, but I think the short answer to all these things is none of us know. I don't think any of these companies found out any sooner than any of the rest of us that this was changing. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. I can tell you now that I got an email from Etsy about 2 minutes before it got posted. It's like,
nobody got.
So
really
plenty of time to check if we were actually using emails. You'd have plenty of time to fix everything.
I mean, the good thing is, well, maybe the email and the way they message it wasn't too good, but for those sites, they've got about 30 days to do whatever they need to do to get it, to make sure it still works. So I dare say in the next 30 days, some companies are going to be having a lot of communication with Etsy to try and make sure that their services continue. But again, if you just joined, eRank is not affected.
Yeah. So Sean asked a question that unrelated to what we talked about today. I think that we've said everything we need to say, though. If you guys have questions about it, feel free to let us know. But Sean asked probably one of my favorite myths, which is it better to renew 5 to 10 listings a day to improve a shop's recency score? This was a tactic. Oh God, Pam, it was over 10 years ago.
Pre-2010. 2010 is when the algorithm changed.
Yeah. So people would go in and they'd go to the back end of their shop and they would renew all of their listings and try to ride that little boost that Etsy gives to new listings in search. But Etsy caught on to this. Anything you can game when it comes to Etsy will catch on to eventually. And they caught on to this over 10 years ago. And, you got to think that that boost is meant to help brand new items have a chance so that they're not starting with a negative score, but instead a neutral score, so that they have a chance to maybe catch a hold and rank a little bit higher in search through positive interactions from those shoppers. And when you're going in there every single day and renewing listings and paying 20 cents for those renewals, what that is showing Etsy is, I'm renewing this listing and I'm trying to ride this boost, but still customers aren't interacting with it. And eventually those listings in search begin to fall and fall and fall and fall. And I remember testing this out myself. When it worked, I tested it out when it worked, and it did work, over 10 years ago, like Pam said. But I also tried it probably more like 5 years ago when I really started pushing this, teaching this, because a lot of other coaches were still encouraging that you do this. And it had the opposite effect. Those listings would rank for maybe a day, and then they would fall and fall and fall and fall. And I think that Etsy really, they don't want to see this type of, renewal trying to catch a foothold. It's better to create listings that customers want, use great keywords, make sure your photos are great, and prioritize a great experience for potential buyers, because that's what's going to help you to rank is positive activity from customers. Don't try to hack the algorithm.
Yeah. This was a tactic. That really aligned with a very old Etsy algorithm, where they had a primitive solution that weighted or ranked items based on how recently they were listed. It's so old now, and their algorithms have got a lot more sophisticated since then. So I really think you can spend your time better elsewhere than renewing. And I'm sure there's someone out there that renews regularly and they have all the success in the world. That's terrific, but I think you're going to be wasting 20 cents each renewal for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, well, Etsy tells us like many of the factors that go into where you rank, and some of the big factors are how your listing does when seen by customers for the keyword, for each specific keyword. So how relevant your items are for the keyword. So if you keep on boosting your item, hoping to get this recency score, Etsy's going to look and go, I've already shown that listing for that keyword and it didn't do good. It's not going to keep showing you when there's other people. So I think with anything, if someone tells you to do a thing, ask yourself, how's that going to help the customer love my listing? If you keep renewing it and supposedly, keep people seeing the same thing that they hated yesterday, you'd be better off changing your images or, working on different items that would help your customers.
Yeah, I just linked the How Etsy Search Works article within the Ultimate Guide to Search, and it contains, all of the factors that Etsy tells us that they use to rank an item, basically the factors that you can have some hand in and, and optimize. But Melanie had said, guilty confession, I sometimes renew a listing when I change something. That's okay. If you've made some major changes to a listing and you've revamped all of your keywords, I'll go in and renew a listing just so I can try, I don't know if it helps or not, but if I've made major changes to that listing and added completely different keywords, I too will go in and, renew that listing, especially if it's a listing that hasn't done well at all, in hopes that maybe Etsy will kind of take a glance at those changes and, those new keywords that I'm trying to rank for. It's really just the people who are in there every single day trying to ride that listing boost that I think.
I think we both said we've both experimented with this, and it's like a law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So if this is something, if you've made a change or, it's the start of the new season for that your item might be popular in, I don't see a problem in renewing it once to say, hey, do you like the changes I made kind of thing. It's this every day going in. yeah, that's just a waste of your time. But yeah, Melanie, I don't think that's a guilty confession. I think that's a pretty reasonable strategy, or it certainly doesn't hurt. It's only 20 cents.
Yeah. Randolph had said recently started Etsy, or my Etsy SEO. That's my my free Etsy toolbox, trying to optimize my store/listings. But when doing my research, the top brands in my niche seem to be using pretty basic mock-ups. Are varying lifestyle picks better? So keep in mind that your biggest competitors, even if they're using those basic mock-ups that everybody uses, if they're your biggest competitors, they've likely already risen to the top. Think of them like those undefeated kings, and they can get away with things that maybe you, as somebody who has to really struggle to compete because you're not at their level yet, maybe they're doing things the lazy way that you probably don't have the luxury of doing as much. And that goes for keywords as well. You can sometimes see those big competitors using really lazy keywords, but then they're, ranking really well for them, or they're using one-word tags, for example. Maybe their photos are kind of lazy. That works for them because they are already big sellers. They've already got the notoriety. They've already got the listing quality scores. They've already got the customer and marketplace experience scores, and they've already gained Etsy's trust, essentially. If you are, let's see, what kind of products? Are you print on demand? I'm assuming because you said mock-ups. I dare say that your best bet, and what I do, is to attempt to use mock-ups that everybody else is using as little as possible, because you want to stand out. So when possible, try to take your own photos. That's always going to be better, even if you are print on demand. Order yourself some samples. But if you don't have the money to do that, remove the backgrounds from those mock-ups and add your own backgrounds, because then at least you know that nobody will have the same photos as you, and your photos will be completely unique and different and stand out a little bit.
Yeah, be wary as well of what Etsy rules are on mock-ups and things. That's it's not changed, it's just been reiterated a bit more. But another thing is, always beware. You might look at someone's images and think they're very plain or something, but the customer decides what's the best. It's very easy. I think many of us, when we started on the internet, were a bit fussy and put, like, we want to do glowing neons and sparkly things, and we make the background more important than our actual product. So you might not like the look of what they've got, but experiment. Maybe something more simple does work for your customers. But it doesn't, like Starla says, it can be different from what everyone else is doing. But remember, your product's the most important thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Jamie had said, I had a Christmas item become a bestseller and ranked #1 in a category. Do you leave it alone next year, or do you refresh? I'm obviously super new and don't want to hurt my bestseller of the season. I mean, if it's a Christmas item, it's probably not going to do well until next Christmas. I would keep using the same listing, though, because it's got reviews and history behind it.
Yeah, same. Use that, benefit from that history. Don't try and tweak it and make it a completely different listing.
Yeah, especially if it's Christmas specific. If it's something that could be reused for a different holiday, like a Mother's Day gift or a Valentine's Day gift, that's a little different. But with this being a Christmas specific thing, I would just leave it alone until next season. We actually start to see searches for Christmas related items over at eRank. I mean, they start taking off as early as June for some weird people who shop way too early for Christmas. So you never know when it'll sell again. You might get a couple sales throughout the year.
And congratulations on a Christmas bestseller. That's really cool.
It's awesome. Well, it's quiet again, Anthony, and we've gotten quite a few more viewers since then. Do we want to quickly just reiterate that Etsy email while we wait for more questions to...
Yeah, sure. I've got a few things I can demo as well, if people like that sort of stuff. But yet, most of you would have received an email today saying that Etsy are no longer making buyers' email addresses available to third-party apps, and they would have listed eRank in those third-party apps. The good news is nothing affects your eRank account. We never use this information, so you can safely disregard that. No need to panic or anything like that, hence the topic for the today's Q&A. However, if you use apps like ones that help you with shipping or email marketing, they may be affected. So you might want to reach out to them and say, hey guys, do I need to do anything differently here? That sort of stuff. But eRank, it's business as usual. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We had a couple comments over on Facebook. Lori had said, one thing that annoys me is just when you feel like your shop is gaining momentum, Etsy starts making changes in your shop tanks. So keep in mind that sometimes you're reading the chicken bones a little bit, where it feels like Etsy did something, but most of the time it's not an Etsy change, it's a seasonal change. It's just easier to point fingers at Etsy when we don't have a clear explanation as to what's going on.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people freak out because they said, my sales were great in November and December, and now January, it's crickets. I don't understand. And, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. How many Christmas gifts are you guys buying right now on January 4th? Probably not very many. Customers aren't buying right now. When we always see a slow period around January, and then it kind of picks up for Valentine's Day if you've got products that could make good gifts, and then we see another stall throughout the summer. So don't always assume that it's Etsy making changes that leading to a lack of sales, because a lot of the times, in fact, I dare say most of the time, it's not Etsy.
Yeah, it's very rare that Etsy is going to make changes that are going to cause shops that are doing really well to tank. The point of the Etsy algorithm is it wants to show the listings that people want to buy. So if people want to buy your listing, then Etsy's doing something really wrong if they stop showing it, basically. So Etsy's always going to try and tweak things to show the best listing. Whether it always gets it perfect is another thing, because we all make mistakes. But as Starla says, I think most of the time we've got to take into account the economy, the seasons, trends, all sorts of things way ahead of Etsy. And the most of the sellers on Etsy, I don't think have momentum. We have seasons, we have chunks of sales. It's never as nice as you get 2 sales a day every single day for the entire year.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, all you can do is check if Etsy have made an announcement that may have directly affected you. Chances are probably not. I would be using the sudden slower time to do a little bit more product research, check the timing when things are peaking, and prepare for whatever is peaking, especially if it's something you can make.
Yeah, I like to consider summertime as a learning period. It's a great time if you know that you need to improve your product photography, for example. There are tons of resources for that. I recommend the YouTube channel by Christina Nicole. She has done lots of blogs. I've done some little Q&As and things with her, and she is an expert product photography coach and creates a lot of great free resources. Use it as an opportunity to work on your SEO. If there's a tool that we have that you're curious about, we have help pages for pretty much every tool. So spend some time learning eRank. Spend some time going through the eRank channel and watching some of our past videos and live streams. There's always ways to use that slow period, but it's typical of all e-commerce. It's not just Etsy. You can look at pretty much any e-commerce platform and see a dip in the summer.
Yeah.
Hey, off topic here, but I was just looking at Pam's sales map. I don't know if people were looking at the sales map. It's pretty good, Pam. I don't know if anyone's been looking at their sales map over Christmas, because I find it gets very interesting to see where your shipments have gone to. So if you're looking for something which is kind of a bit fun, not too, taxing on the brain, go into the shop menu and click on your sales map and see where those shipments went to. It's one of those features we sort of buried in the menus there, and I always find this time of the year can be very satisfying, especially if you're one of the lucky ones that had a good holiday season with the sales.
Yeah, you can share it if you want. I don't think it shows any customer information, so if you want to share it.
No.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't. Best will give you a state and country.
Yep.
Okay. let me share my screen, huh?
Well, you're pulling that up. Jamie had added, in addition to her question about that best-selling Christmas item, she said that she didn't know what happened when you refresh. I assume that you mean renew a listing. It won't wipe your listing quality score. That would only happen if you created a brand new listing and deleted the old listing. So if you're just using the same listing and fixing it up or changing it or not changing it, if you just leave it alone and it manually renews, you're totally fine.
Yep, I'm not seeing anything on your screen yet.
Oh, sorry, I'm still in holiday mode.
Oh, here we go.
Here we
Great,
go.
great demo, Anthony. We love it.
Oh, yeah. Really sharp today. Okay, so I'll blow it up a tad. So that's it. This is the sales map. So you can see Pam is quite the international entrepreneur here, selling to looks like Germany, France, UK, Ireland, Canada, and a whole bunch of US states. So rocking on there, Pam. Also, I'm seeing it here. A few more. Italy, Switzerland, Czechia. Mentioned Ireland already. Israel, Iceland. Yeah, so that's it. It's kind of fun. You can zoom in. I know a lot of people like to check out like how many US states they've sold to, or how many European countries they've sold to. It's just a little fun thing for you to browse when you have the time.
It's fun, but it can also be helpful, like if you're trying to figure out how much your shipping should be for international shipping, or if it's worth it. But you can see what countries you do ship to the most. Yeah, so.
Oh, look at that. You've even shipped to Australia this year, Pam.
I've shipped to Australia, yep. many years ago. I think I'd hit every continent apart from Antarctica.
Well, try harder.
I know. I did ask, but nobody was wanting to buy from there. Sadly,
You don't have enough penguins in your shop.
Actually, I did.
Maybe a needle-belted penguin or two might be the way to go.
I had a whole range of penguins, but no one would take them.
Anyone know anyone that works in one of the labs in Antarctica? Send them a link to Pam's shop.
Yeah, just so I can colour in that bit of the map.
Yeah. What else I was going to show people? Let me switch tabs here. So I'm on the dashboard now. Can you see that? Or do I need to?
Nope. You're still on the map.
Okay. Switching back. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we've been cleaning up a lot of the site over the last 2 months, and we're continuing that in the new year. So one of the challenges we were getting, or one of the feedback we got from our members was that it was getting a little bit cluttered up in here, and some people were reporting that the refresh data button was butting into the search button and they were clicking the wrong one at times. So we've had to move the settings into the little avatar menu. So you'll see it down here now. So this isn't really a super exciting announcement, but the point is that if you see something that isn't right for you, let us know. Hit the little chat icon down here, send us a message, and we'll look into that for you. I'd love to say we spotted this earlier, but there are so many different combinations and screen resolutions and things like that that we don't always catch everything before it gets released to the public. So I wanted to let you know about that. We got some great feedback over the last few weeks as well about the health check. So we're applying a whole bunch of changes to make that more useful. So for those of you who don't know, this is basically a simple report where we've put together any of your listings that are missing tags or missing images and have other issues in there as well. So right now it's a little bit, it could be more useful. So we got some great feedback from people. They just want to know about missing tags or something like that. So I think maybe tonight or tomorrow morning we'll release an update which will allow you to tick which sort of issues you care about. So maybe you don't care about spelling issues because, I don't know, maybe you're using British English or whatever. Or you don't care about missing images because it's just too hard to get that 9th or 10th image. So you'll be able to hide those ones. We're going to go a step further as well. We got feedback about the health check module on the dashboard not being clickable. So maybe you just want to see the missing tags, So that will be coming out. That will probably be towards the end of next week. So we're really trying to make it more useful for you to address any issues that you've got there. So going back a little bit, and where we're talking about renewing listings, perhaps it would be better to check out your health check and make sure that you're doing everything you can to follow Etsy's best practices. So please check that out. Try and get ticks and all clear in that section there. I think that would be really good. What else can I show people? So, you know, what about the next version of the keyword tool? People want to see that?
Sure.
Oh, no, I don't think anyone would want to see that. That's not an exciting tool. Yeah, yes, sure. Yeah.
Crystal
Well, we
said
might have a
health
talk
check
again.
is wonderful.
Yep. Health. Crystal's saying she's found 2 listings she forgot to put any tags on with a health check. Been there, yeah.
How do you do that? I thought Etsy had a way that prevented you from listing something.
Tags are optional on Etsy, and also occasionally we've had some people, it is possible to accidentally put things in the material section instead of the tags, because I've had people message me and say, I've got loads of tags. You're like, let me see. So
Okay, well, yeah, it's there. Oh, we've also added sold out as well. And some of you will see sold out and expired on your dashboard, which it might seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many times people have not discovered that one of their best sellers has sold out, and they're just wondering why their sales are so slow. I haven't changed anything. Etsy must have done something, only to find out a few days later or longer that your bestseller had sold out. So that's on the dashboard as well. If you do see that, I'd encourage you to check that out and just make sure that you renew it if you've got the supplies, or not. But it's a handy little thing just to help you catch some of those things that we've seen people stumble over in the past. Okay, so we've got a lot of feedback from people about the keyword tool, and we're getting reports that we're not giving people enough keyword ideas. Reality is we've put the keyword ideas into 2 tabs at the moment. So we've got related searches, which are those keywords that buyers have been looking for. And then we've got a tab for top tags, which are the tags that people have been putting into their listings that we see in the search results. So we're going to merge those 2 together. Just in hindsight, it seems like the sensible thing to do, put all the keywords into one tab. So you'll be able to see that shortly. We're just polishing off a few things here, but I thought I'd share it with you because I'd like to get your feedback, because we're always looking to try and improve this. So what I've got here is the keyword ideas tab open now. So this is where they'll be. This will be a combination of those related searches and the top tags that are related to whatever you search for in here. So you'll see hopefully what I think are a better arrangement of keywords that closely resemble what you're looking for. So silver ring, ring silver, silver ring, so forth. No big surprises there. But previously you had to go to different tabs. I have temporarily got a score in here, which caused a lot of confusion when we were testing it internally. That is really just for me and the developers to make sure that we're ranking these in a pretty good order. So if you were to go to the bottom of the list, then you'll see things which are pretty random. These are the ones that have popped up in listings that were coming back in search results for silver ring in this case. So sterling jewelry. So yeah, I can see a bit of an association there, but probably may not be super useful for you. So by default, we're going to try and show you what we think are really closely related terms, and you can go through the list and figure out more from there. You'll also notice there's a lot more results that are going to be appearing in this window now because of this change. The other bit is we are adding broad in here, which is pretty much exactly what it is. It's broad matching now. So with this, it'll show you words that are generally good, but you'll see a lot more random things in here. So you might be going, oh, Anthony, why the hell are you showing me these sort of more random words now. Well, the idea here is to get you to think more laterally, or what's the word, Starla? You're the psychology expert here. Thinking outside the box. I can only come up with clues.
Abstractly.
Abstractly. Thank you. That'll do. So it may give you things like suggestions on seasonality, time of year, the recipient, or just random stuff that you may not have thought of previously. So we will be bringing this out next week. But yeah, if you see anything here, which I'm just showing you, I know it's a very quick demo and you're going, have you thought about this, Anthony? Let me know in the comments, please. Otherwise, look forward to this coming out next week. And then, yeah, use the feedback button if you need to. Oh, I will say one last thing. Near matches, we're still working on this at the moment. We have a separate tab for near matches. I find this really useful in some cases where I might have a way of searching for something, but it's different to other people. What we've done here is we've said, okay, well, we know that people have different ways of finding things, and sometimes they just search in the ever so slightly different way than I might search or you might search. So the near matches, as you'll see, are things like silver ring, which is what I search for. So that's obviously got to be there. But ring silver, silver rings, rings silver. So you can see some singulars and plurals in there. So we're working on that. Etsy don't care at the end of the day. They will match you for any of those variations. We wanted to uncover some of that information so you can see it in there, and maybe you go, I think that perhaps I will tweak my listing because silver rings is more popular than ring silver. That's entirely up to you. I don't think it has a huge impact on ranking, but these are good things to know, especially if you're using these phrases in your title, because that's seen by buyers and they might be going, this person's a bit sloppy with their wording. Perhaps you want to follow something that is more popular or more frequently used in your titles. Let's see.
It's actually been surprising. A thing that I don't think we'd necessarily thought of that we're seeing is if you use the near matches, sometimes if you didn't have the near matches, you'd look at a keyword and say, oh, that was big 6 months ago, but it's been nothing. And then if you hit the near matches, you're seeing that people are searching. They search for one variation and they're searching for another. So you might have dismissed a keyword when actually it would have been good enough to hit, a plural or in a singular or something like that. So it is definitely helping.
That's a good point. I'm just typing in ring silver now because I want to share a bit more with you on that one. So previously, if I search for ring silver, you may have seen a graph that's like this, chopping and dropping down to 0, popping up to 1,000 or more again. That's because we're using an exact match and we were seeing very, very few people searching for that phrase during this time. If I were to include the near matches, then you'll see that it looks a bit more smoother, has a bit more of a logical sort of flow about it because it's looking at those different variations. And it can be that perhaps people are encouraged to search in a different way. Could be a whole manner of things there. But I really want to start doing more of this throughout the year. So right now you'll see the graph in the top section here. Much more useful, I think. One of the things I've got the team working on is ways that we can update the graphs in here so that they are the same. Because Etsy treats it the same, I think we should treat it the same as well. So really easy to describe, really, really hard to do. And so anyway, the developers are really happy with me right now. I've got one other thing I want to share with people.
I was going to say, we've got quite a few questions. I just wanted to let everybody know that we'll get to those in just a minute. Hopefully you guys can stick around for a minute.
What? Okay, I'll be really quick with this one. So this is where we're taking the site very soon. Notice anything different? No,
yeah, let us know in chat if you see it, guys.
Yeah. So if you're struggling to find the difference, it's right here. So we will be switching to a left nav probably, I think, early next month. So there are some things in here which we need to redesign a little bit because, frankly, we've got some pages which have a lot of information on them. So we need to get back to a left nav because there's too many reasons to explain why, but it's much more convenient. It'll be much more, it'll be organized in a much better way. So, your keyword research tools will be under keyword research. Your competitor research tools will be under competitor research. Who knew? Things like that. So this will really help people who are just getting to learn eRank. So if you remember your day one, you're going under eRank and you go, oh my God, so many things. I don't know where to begin. What we're working on here is to rearrange things in a more logical manner, put them into the left side so that we have more real estate at the top of the room, at the top of the screen, and just improve usability in it, generally speaking. So anyway, if you see that and you're going, oh my God, that does not work at all, here are the reasons why, let me know. You can either leave a comment or shoot me an email. I'm all ears. And once it's ready for some beta testing, we'll let a few people know and see if we can get their feedback as well. So that was it. I'll stop sharing now.
Cool.
All right. Hey, Philip, are you still here? Let us know, Philip. We've got quite a few. We might have to kind of power around them, but they're all really good questions. Philip had asked, if you have a seasonal item that does well, should you keep reactivating that listing, or is it okay to let it deactivate and then bring it back around the next year? Does it affect its performance? I mean, your rank and search is dependent on how that listing's being interacted with, and if it's Christmas, you're definitely not going to see as much interaction in the middle of summer as you would around Christmas time. So it's really up to you. I see some people who just let that listing expire and then they let it sit in their deactivated listings, and then they launch it almost like it's a brand new product around the holidays, and it still keeps all that history from the past year regardless, because it's the same listing. But you never know. Maybe somebody will want to buy that listing in June or July. We see people searching for Christmas stuff year round. If you go into the keyword tool and take a look, people are starting their searches very, very early for Christmas items. It's not going to sell the way that it did around Christmas time, but I dare say that it would be okay to just leave it up as long as it's not obstructing the overall aesthetic of your shop.
Yeah, I to jump in there, if you were to turn it off for a while, I'd strongly encourage you to turn that listing back on at least 90 days before peak season, because there are people out there which are the early shoppers, and then obviously there are the peak shoppers that are buying right in the peak season, and then leave it on a little bit longer because you've got those last minute or, those happy belated Christmas, those sort of people that are buying after the fact as well. So there's some benefit to definitely leaving it on a little bit longer, and definitely give yourself some good lead time as well. Not only for those early shoppers, but keep in mind that if you can get those early shoppers, guess what that does to your listing quality score? Boost it right up. So definitely restart it a bit earlier.
Yeah, and having a listing that isn't selling much through the off season does not hurt your shop. You'll find all the big sellers on Etsy, just about everyone on Etsy has some listings that sell well and a ton of listings that do nothing. That's not a big deal. And your whole listing quality score for that seasonal item is not competing with all your other listings for different items. It's competing against the other people that have a similar seasonal item. So they're also going to be seeing the dip for that item. So yeah, it's not going to hurt you unless, like Starla says, it spoils the look of your whole shop. But otherwise, yeah, it doesn't. That's going to be 60 cents through the year to renew it. It's up to you.
Ray G had said, do you ever recommend putting similar product keywords within a listing title? Just example, I don't sell this. If you had a birthday poster template, should you put birthday invitation in the title? Think about it more like this. Well, I don't think it's an invitation. I think that it's a poster. So think of it like this. If you were a customer and you searched for birthday posters and a bunch of templates came up, would you be frustrated because you weren't finding what you're looking for?
Yeah. Only use the words that describe what you're selling. That's going to hurt your conversion rate. Etsy going to look at it and go, no one seems to buy from this shop when they're searching for whatever. It's going to be harmful.
Yeah. The first rule of a good keyword is, does it describe your item? So that doesn't describe your item. I've heard so many people say they found this great keyword. Should they put it on all their listings? Not if it's not what your listing is.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always target keywords related to a target customer instead. You know, you run out of ways to, for example, I've got these cups in my shop, and how many words are there to describe a cup with a fox on it? You know, after I get a couple keywords in there, I'm left with no ideas. Well, maybe I list, you know, gift for animal lovers. That's more oriented around the type of target customer, but I might be appealing to shoppers who don't know what they want. But maybe when they find my cup, it's exactly what they were looking for. So that would be an exception to that rule.
Yeah. Oh, and if you found that birthday invitation is an awesome keyword, make some birthday invitations if it works in your shop.
If you can make them do them, yeah.
Yeah, that's what keyword research is, part of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Etsy will see, you know, they'll smell something off here, you know, there's shenanigans. Stay away from that. Make a new listing. What else we got, Stella?
Yeah, Crystal had asked, when doing keyword research, I like to see which listings less than a year old have the highest sales to filter out high sales due to age. Is there a way to do this without exporting a CSV or a approach?
No, but it's a brilliant idea, because I think that there are plenty of listings out there which had some glory days many years ago. I think it's a brilliant idea. I'll chat to the developers, because this is exactly the sort of feedback we need to hear. If we can help make the keyword tool more useful for you, let us know. We'll find a way to do it. I think it's a great idea.
At the minute on the rank checker, you can filter them by age of the listing, I think. Can't we anymore? Okay. Anthony's
you can sort by the age.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you can't filter by the. We are adding filters, just so you know. So I hadn't thought about age in that context, but I think it's a brilliant idea.
Cool. You've got him thinking, Crystal. That's good.
Oh, yeah, I'll start dribbling in a minute.
Let's see. Rachel, let me know if we gave you an answer to your question about the listing IDs. She was just trying to figure out, she has a listing that has all 13 tags, but her health check is saying that 13 are missing. So I said start by hitting that refresh data button, but if not, maybe send our support girls the listing ID.
Yeah, I'd do that. Send a note to the support team. We'll have a look into it.
And if you can't find your listing ID, like I said, it's just that little random characters after, you know, your Etsy.com listing.
Etsy.com/listing/ and then it's a number. That's
blah, 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 blah. Yeah. We just need the blah, 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 blah afterwards. But if you send the whole URL, if you're not sure which one it is, just send the whole URL and our team will know what it is.
Yeah.
So I had answered this one for Sean in the chat, but I figured that it's a good question, so we might as well answer it out loud as well. Sean had asked, I love using the listing helper tool to generate titles and descriptions. Are the AI generated results based on the Etsy algorithm?
No. So the results are based on what ChatGPT or OpenAI think are good titles, tags, and descriptions for your listing. So we try to do a little bit behind the scenes to show you how popular those tags are, but the titles and the descriptions are pretty much what you see is what you get there. So definitely don't blindly copy and paste what's there. They just haven't been trained. To train the AI to do that, you would have to have sales data. And ChatGPT doesn't have sales data. Etsy's not going to give that out to any randoms, you know. So, you'll have to look at that and go, does this seem right to me? Maybe it's pretty close and you just need to edit it a little bit. The whole idea or the reason behind us creating that was to help people with writer's block. So what's the 10th, 13th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th tag I'm going to use. I'm kind of stuck with how to describe this. I'm kind of stuck with the title. Sometimes just getting a little help at the beginning takes you so much further. So much easier to edit than to create something from scratch.
Yeah, but still double
Gave you a
check
bit more
those
of an
terms
answer.
with the keyword tool.
Hmm?
I said, but still double check those terms within the keyword tool.
Yeah, well, in the tag section,
Right.
there are the keyword stats there as well. So
yeah.
And also be thinking, like, check the titles over to make sure that the keywords that are important to you are in the titles.
Oh yeah.
Things. The AI is great, but I've spent days trying to even just basically teach it some Etsy rules, and it's not as clever. Like, not just the eRank one. Yeah, they don't exactly do what you think they should all the time. So
Yeah,
check.
I was searching for something recently on Google. I'm going, why is Google so bad now? So I went over to ChatGPT to try and get some answers there, and it kind of struggled a little bit at the end as well. But for basic sort of stuff, it's good. Like I said, for the listing helper, it's great to unlock your writer's block.
I've got a question from Samantha in the Facebook group, but I've got to read Linda's comment. She said, "Don't trust AI. I had a digital marketer spam me saying that he could help my Al Gore rhythm."
Good one.
That's amazing, Linda. Samantha said, "Is eRank spotting any new trend searches coming out this year?" So I actually, tomorrow during the Friday Bean, we're going to be analyzing, because Etsy released their 2024 trend report, and I'm going to be doing the Target, trend report, because Target's super trendy. But over at eRank, I mean, there's tons of things that are popping off. Do we already have our blogs?
So Jan, our lovely editor and keyword expert, has just created her 2023 keyword review. So she basically looked at what the hottest keywords were last year. And so I'd encourage you to go and check out that blog post that just got posted at the beginning of this week. Yeah, so poor Jan was working when most of us were relaxing and nursing hangovers. So yeah, she did a great job there. It's really detailed. You're going to probably spend 15, 20 minutes going through that, but it is an awesome read. So definitely, if you want to have a look at what happened last year, do that. If you're the kind of person, the guy or gal that likes to keep the finger on the pulse, I'd really encourage you to pop into our TrendBuzz. I don't know how I almost forgot that name, but TrendBuzz. Pop into TrendBuzz and look for the most popular keywords in the past 30 days. If you really want to get a good sense of what's happening on Etsy, that's really where I would encourage you to go. I also find it interesting looking at what was hot yesterday, but I know Pam and Starla have mentioned this many times in the past. What may be hot one day disappears the next, So yeah, if you want a bit of an insight into what could be hot this year, pop into TrendBuzz. If you want to see what was really good last year, check out Jan's blog post.
I mean, January, I think, is the best month to do that, because you get, when all those panicked shoppers who are trying to search last minute for their gifts, you get some interesting results.
Yep. And it's a great time to do it because people haven't got their credit card bills in yet. So you can make a few little tweaks and still get some good sales before the freak out moments start to happen. And people
Etsy gift cards too. People got Etsy gift cards for Christmas.
Yeah. I do like for the daily trends. That's a good one. If you're doing research and working on stuff, just every day, open eRank, look at it, go away. Don't do it. And then slowly over time, you kind of get some ideas of things that are hanging around a wee bit more. But yeah, Jan's blogs are great as well. The eRank, not the Etsy trend guide is kind of good because Etsy can make the trends that they talk about. And Stella's doing an in-depth. I should have next week, mine should be out, which I've gone into the Pinterest and the Etsy trends and Hobbycraft and the entire internet. So big one.
All right. Well, it's 4:01 and we answered all the questions.
Yay.
We got through right on time. I
right.
feel very weird. Normally I go on for like 20 minutes over.
Don't say that. They'll start pouring more questions in.
No.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out. The entire lesson of today's stream is don't panic. Etsy will be Etsy. eRank is unaffected. Contact your other integrations if you have any concerns, and be aware that everybody just found out about this morning, so things might change over the next few days. But for us, we didn't collect customer email addresses to begin with, so no issues on eRank's end.
Yep. That's it, everyone. Well,
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Here's to a really awesome 2024 for everyone.